Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of my Ivan's vlog, everything about balls and a little bit more. Today I'm gonna talk about how you can deflate or inflate a ball the right way. So let's get to it. First of all, if you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive notifications. Also like this video because this helps me out a lot. And if you have a question or a comment, just leave it down below in the comment section and I will respond as fast as possible. So today let's talk about how you can deflate or inflate a ball the right way. Because I also got a lot of questions about other YouTube users concerning how you can do this the right way. Well, I have here my trusty old Mikasa MVA 200 volleyball, and this one is a ball that I own myself. This is not a ball that I got from my collection, but this is a ball that I bought myself a lot of years ago because I already have a new version. So as you can see, this proves it. I think I'm gonna put it this way. As you can see, this is my own ball number 4. I also let this ball use at a couple of our home games at VC Cineton Klein Brabant Puurs here in Belgium, and they were really happy with this ball. So this ball I'm gonna use to deflate and inflate the right way. So first of all, let's talk about what we need to make sure that the ball is properly deflated or inflated. First of all, of course, we need a ball, because otherwise it would be a little bit stupid to make this video, I think. So that's the first thing that we need, a volleyball, but it's also the same thing, for example, if you want to inflate or deflate a basketball, a soccer ball, a football, and so on. You can do it also the same way that I'm doing it in this episode. So the first thing, like I said, we need a ball. Then we need a ball pump to inflate the ball. And I use this Mikasa ball pump because I am really happy with this pump, because it also has an extra cylinder. So if you put too much pressure inside the ball, this cylinder will make sure that it's not too much that goes inside the ball as well. But you can use any ball pump you want. Just make sure that the ball pump doesn't have too much pressure, because otherwise there is a chance that the ball may explode. So that's something I think you need to be thinking about as well. Then what we also need, and for me I think this is the most important thing if you want to make sure that your ball doesn't deflate over a short amount of time, that's oil. Because the oil that you need to insert into the valve, let's make sure that the valve is lubricated as it should be, so when you put the needle in, it doesn't feel any resistance. And I think that's really important if you inflate a ball, because if you put too much stress on the valve, then there is a chance that the valve gets punctured, and because of this puncture the ball will start to leak, and you sometimes will also hear the hissing coming out of the ball, and then you can be sure that the ball is already fucked up. So don't do that. Just put the oil inside the valve, and you only need a few drops, and that's more than enough. And then, like I will also let you show in this video, it's how you're gonna do this as it should be. Then also got a couple of questions about other YouTube users. What kind of oil can you use? Well, I use this Select oil because this is created specially for inflating a ball, but you can also use other oils as well. For example, some people ask me, well, can you use baby oil? If this is thin enough, yeah, of course you can use it, and you only need a couple of drops, and that's more than enough. Just make sure that the oil is non-abrasive, so there are no abrasive elements inside this oil, because otherwise it also can cause a little bit of too much friction, and that's also not good for the ball. And then of course we also need something to check the pressure of the ball, and for this we use a pressure gauge. We have two versions of this. We have an analog one and we also have a digital one. A digital one is a little bit more expensive than the analog one, so if you can't afford it and you just want to make sure that the pressure of the ball is okay, just use an analog one. That's also more than good enough. But there is a little bit of tolerance because analog is not just 100% perfect for making sure that the pressure is perfect. But if you want to make sure that it's perfect, then you can also buy a digital gauge, because then the tolerance is almost zero. For a volleyball, the margins are really thin because it needs to be between 0.3 and 0.33 bars. So there's a small margin they have to work with. So then you best use a digital gauge, and then you can check the pressure that way. We also need, for deflating the ball, a ball needle. And for me, I think it's really important, and I also mentioned this in the first episode, that it has a round head. So no sharp edges on the end of this needle, so that you also don't damage the ball valve that way. So if you have a round head, like I show in this photo with shot with a macro lens, you can see that it has rounded edges, and then you can gently put this needle inside the ball to inflate it or to deflate it. I'm also going to show you this in this video, how you can do this as it should be. And the last thing you need, but it's not 100% needed, is just a little bit of maybe a paper tissue to clean the excessive oil that's still on the ball and in the valve. Because if you leave the oil on the ball tends to get slippery, and that's something you don't want. So just use a paper tissue just to clean the ball, and then the ball should be okay. So now that you know this kind of information, then we go on to deflate and inflate the ball. So let's get to it. So the first thing we do is add a few drops of this ball valve oil. 2 is more than enough. And now we have the needle to insert into the valve, and like I mentioned, it's with a round head. So I think that's more than enough, and now we're gonna check the air pressure inside the ball, and we do this by gently inserting the ball into this valve, which has been lubricated with the oil. And as you can see, after a few movements, just try to be careful and it goes very easily. And now it's time to inflate the ball. Also try to insert the needle as gently as possible, and we start inflating. And now it's time to check the pressure again with this ball gauge. Insert it very gently, and as you can see we have a 0.39, which is too much, so we're gonna have to deflate the ball a little bit. And you do this by just pressing with your finger on the release valve. And it's maybe just still a little bit too much, so we're gonna decrease the amount again. And I think this should do it. It's 3.15 or maybe 0.32, so that should be absolutely perfect for this volleyball. We're gonna double check it again, and as you can see, it goes very easy to insert the ball gauge into this valve because of this oil that we use. And the next thing we do is just clean up the excess liquid, and this should be absolutely perfect. And I think I can honestly say that I'm very happy with the result. As you can see, the ball has the perfect pressure, And it's gonna be like that for a long time, because I think it's gonna last like this for maybe a couple of months before it loses pressure. And I also want to give you an extra tip when you buy a fully deflated ball and you want to inflate it. For example, I have this Mikasa MV8200 volleyball here. As you can see, it comes fully deflated. And if you want to inflate this ball, I want to give this extra tip. Over-inflate it just a little bit to get the ball a little bit rounder. And I think that's also important for a volleyball, but also for other balls as well. When you buy a basketball or a soccer ball, most of the time also these balls come in fully deflated, so you need to inflate them. But sometimes, for example with this volleyball here, with this Mikasa ball, there are also a lot of wrinkles in the ball. So what you can do is, when you inflate the ball, instead of using a 0.3 bar of pressure, just increase it to, for example, 0.5 bar. And then you have the amazing result that the ball will expand a little bit more. And because of this expansion, the wrinkles also get out of the ball a little bit quicker. So that's also the case when you buy, for example, a soccer ball or a basketball. Overinflate this ball by only using more than just 0.2 bars extra. That's more than enough. And by using this method, the ball will get rounder a lot quicker too. So I think that's a really big bonus to know. So because I'm also equipment manager at our team, at our volleyball team, I also, when I receive new volleyballs, I inflate them to 0.5 and I wait a couple of days, and because the ball keeps expanding because of this extra pressure, the pressure will go down within the next couple of days to, for example, 0.4. I still try to keep them at that level, and then maybe a week later it will come to 0.35, and then you can deflate the ball to the amount of pressure that you need, for example 0.3 bars. But then during that week the ball has a time to expand to the normal size, because if you buy a new ball, the ball is a little bit smaller than you might think. And when you buy a soccer ball, you can see this fairly clearly, because I also was equipment manager at a soccer team for about 10 years. And you can put these balls on the shelf, for example, 4 next to each other, and you still have this amount of space. But when the balls are maybe a month older, you don't have that space anymore. So you know the ball keeps expanding until it reaches the perfect size. And that's also why it's best to overinflate a ball a little bit, so you get to that size where it should be a little bit faster than usual. And also with this volleyball, I don't know if you can see it. Well, you can see the wrinkles here. So on this side, yeah, you can see the wrinkles. So you can get these out a little bit faster when you use this method. So this is, I think, a very good extra tip for you. So thank you for watching this episode, how you can deflate or inflate a ball the right way. If you have a question or you have a comment, please leave it down below in the comment section and I will respond as fast as possible. So thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.